Good morning. It is a beautiful Friday afternoon. I am having a great casual Friday, and today we're gonna talk.
Small almond milk latte, please.
Have a great day. So, I am drinking a latte from Espresso Vivace. It's delicious. I may have mispronounced that, but we are talking about gender identity today. And I mean, if you saw the title there, it might be a little bit of a, I don't know, hyperbolic statement. Go out just to get a cup of coffee. I actually wanted to work on this stuff right here. It's a bunch of insurance paperwork, kind of boring stuff. But I figured, hey, I might as well make a vlog out of it while I'm here. But first, a word from our sponsor, me. I just had an idea. Look at that! Of course, this doesn't really quite work as well as like the cute little like old light bulbs, but you know, it gets the point across. Anyway, my idea is the sponsor of today's episode, MuseUnseen.com. Muse Unseen is a podcast on how creatives do business. And if you are interested in hearing about how artists, musicians, painters, dancers, sculptors, or maybe someone in between from all walks of a life, whether it be an independent person or somebody who has been through the ringer, 40 years in the making, then Muse Unseen is for you. We discover the ways that professional artists do business and how they actually succeed in their careers. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, you can listen at MuseUnseen.com. And I've also got a episode linked down below with Henry, a prolific Seattle painter, muralist. So thank you for watching. Please consider checking out MuseUnseen.com, and I will see you in the future. Actually, right now I was about to give you my outro, but let's get back to the episode. Let's talk a little bit about gender identity, because that title, like I said earlier, is a little hyperbolic. You know, I of course do identify as transgender, but there's also something that I identify as well, and that is gender fluid. So gender fluidity is this idea where like we are essentially kind of going between two different gender identities, whether it be like per month, per day, some people are like per hour. It doesn't really like matter how or how often you kind of switch from one side to another. But if you've been watching my vlogs long enough, you might notice that like certain days I'm like super femme and like doing my thing. And then other days I'm kind of like here, you know, with you, like, you know, man spreading right now. And like, that's kind of how I feel. Like there are days when I feel very, very much like a masculine sort of presentation. You know, I kind of like walk with a little more stock, you know, and there are days when I'm like wearing heels and I kind of, you know, walk in a line, and my physical being reflects how I feel on the inside. The feeling of gender is something that is lost on most cisgender people, and I'm gonna do my damnedest to explain it. We had to flip the camera around because there's words and text. Anyway, no matter what card that you associate yourself with, whether it be pink or blue, the rules are the same. So when we think of gender, we have kind of 4 tiers here. You may or may not agree with this one, but I'm trying to prove a point. So We have our birth, or kind of how others assign us at birth. Maybe you've seen a MAB or a FAB someplace online. This is male or female. There is intersex as well, but it's not common that we see people assigned as intersex at birth. So when we think about our identity, this is how we perceive ourselves. So when we perceive ourselves as male or female, we also could go somewhere in the middle here. I fall a little bit in the middle here. Non-binary individuals fall a little bit in the middle here. We have our expression, which is sort of like the societal thing, right? How we express ourselves based upon the gender norms in society, right? We have male, female, or somewhere in between here, more androgynous, right? And then we have finally the perception, how others perceive us, or how we perceive ourselves, which sometimes can bring in some dysphoric feelings. But say, for example, right, you are AFAB, you identify as female, you express yourself as female, but others perceive you as male. That's frustrating for a lot of people. And so this perception is based upon how others perceive us. This is what I believe, as opposed to how we necessarily see ourselves. Okay, let's dive in a little deeper. So for most cisgender people, that is people who strongly associate with their identifier at birth, right? They mostly fall into this sort of expression category. Usually people can kind of wrap their head a little bit around this in sense of like, oh, that pink shirt is a little more feminine. If I put that pink shirt on, I'll be perceived as a little more feminine. Most people kind of fall into that expression kind of realm and can wrap their head around it. But for people like me and other trans people, right, I identify more with the identity spectrum. For me, I kind of build kind of back and forth, and sometimes I'll feel very feminine, but even though I feel very feminine, I might dress a little more androgynous. So for example, today, I'm leaning towards the masculine side. I wouldn't call myself butch, with a voice down here and kind of anything like that. But I would kind of put myself a little on the right side, near the masculine side, with a more masculine presentation, minus my hair, because I'm not going to cut my hair. It took me a long time to grow this. So when it comes to like the cisgender community, you actually have a term for gender expression, whether or not you believe it or not. This is tomboy, right? So in this case, somebody who is called a tomboy, right, is AFAB. They identify, as far as we know, as female, but they express themselves as slightly masculine. And for some, they might perceive themselves, or the others might perceive them as female, or maybe somewhere in this place, depending on how woke they are in terms of gender identity, right? So for me, right, I am transgender, right? For me, the idea of transgender is sort of this like concept that I have explored the idea of gender, and thus I have surpassed this simple idea of male or female. I have thought about gender, I express myself through gender, so I am transgender. I am the third gender. When it comes to that idea, I was a MAB. I identify as primarily trans femme, gender fluid, which is my expression, right? And then I'm perceived mostly female. In other words, it looks like this. Notice how those aren't lines, right? When it comes to gender identity, there is a lot of variation. And so I'm curious, how do you identify? I'm gender fluid. Trans feminine, gender fluid, AMAB, with a whole lot of perceptions, mostly in the feminine side of things. Anyway, if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe. Please let me know. And I'm gonna put some cards up here now. Bing, 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 bing. I don't know if that was in time. I hope it was. But now I'm gonna look at my little timer there on the bottom and count to about 20 seconds right now. So I think I got about 10 seconds left of this video. I'd really like it if you subscribed and liked this video. Or check out some of these other ones. I don't know, I might put a modeling one right there. It was kind of fun. All right, I think that's it. Bye!